When I was a kid, I used to play a lot of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I remember getting introduced to the mechanic of the Assassin's Guild and being completely amazed by it. For those who don't know, you could save citizens from the guards and they would be so thankful that they would dedicate themselves to your cause. You could then send them away for missions that would earn them XP and level them up. It was a management game, but instead of managing a football team, you managed a guild of assassins. For a 13-year-old nerdy kid such as myself, this was revolutionary stuff. I enjoyed sending my assassins on missions all over Europe more than I enjoyed playing the actual game that was full of bugs, unskippable cutscenes, and junky controls. I revisited the game 13 years later and I still enjoyed managing my guild for about half an hour. Then the cracks began to show, the repetitive gameplay and the lack of depth mainly. Still, the concept intrigued me, and I started wondering if I could fix these problems in a game of my own. The problems. Number 1. Every assassin is the exact same person. There is no differentiation among your recruits. Everyone has the exact same skills and stats. In the next game of the franchise, Assassin's Creed Revelations, the citizens you recruit start out with different skills. You heard rumors of a pickpocket, so you go to the market where she works to confront and recruit her. You approach a woman who is an acrobat, so you save her from the guards that are harassing her and you recruit her. When I was presented with those missions, I thought, oh, so if you send the pickpocket in a mission to steal something, she will have a higher chance of success than if you send someone else, right? But alas, after you recruit and start training them, they become the same person. The only difference is the weapon they hold. If you want to send someone for a stealth kill, they have to hold the hidden blade. If a mission requires the demolition of something, you have to send someone with a hammer. Which is something, I guess, but shouldn't every assassin have been trained to use every weapon? I remember a mission in Brotherhood where I had to seduce the wife of someone, and I would have a 100% chance of success if I sent the ugliest assassin I owned. The wife is not superficial, I thought. She will be seduced by the good heart of my assassin, not for his looks. Then I thought of sending a woman assassin, and I had a 100% chance to seduce her as well. She is bisexual too. No matter who you send, if they are a high enough level, the wife will fall. She is extremely easy. Anyway, here is how I would fix this problem. First of all, you would not be in charge of a guild for only one class. You would welcome adventurers of all classes. Each adventurer would have their own unique skills and stats, and each mission has a higher chance of being successful depending on who you dispatch. Does the mission require infiltration? Send a stealthy rogue or a wizard that knows invisibility. They would have a higher success chance than a loud barbarian. Do you need to seduce someone? Send a charismatic bard or a sorcerer. You can even send a warlock with a charm person spell available. The same can be done with equipment. Maybe you are tasked with killing a beast with hardened skin, resistant to piercing damage. You must equip your fighter with maces and axes, not swords and spears. You can even mix and match in more complicated scenarios. Your task is to infiltrate this castle and steal an artifact from within, but the artifact is kept in a magically locked room. Your rogue cannot pick that lock. You have to add a mage that knows knock, which is a spell that opens any locked door or chest, or dispel magic to your party to open the magical lock, if you want to succeed. But remember, the chances of stealthily moving through the castle are slim if you have a clumsy wizard with 9 dexterity in your party. Maybe you should throw in a ranger to cast Pass Without a Trace, a spell that adds a massive bonus to stealth in there. Or better yet, a druid that can cast both Dispel Magic and Pass Without a Trace. There are multiple ways to pass a mission, with various chances of success. Problem number 2. There is no endgame. In Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, the missions are constantly refreshing and repeating. I used to think that there were only so many things that need to be done before I save the world, but there was always a new crisis that needed my attention. In the end, it is an allegory for the pointlessness of war and the never-ending struggle for control. The two sides, assassins and Templars, are locked in an endless ideological battle, a prison of their own design, destined to spill blood forever. This sucks gameplay-wise. After I level up all my recruits to assassin level, there is no need to play anymore. In Assassin's Creed Revelation, the problem is even worse because it teases an endgame without actually delivering. Each city that you can send recruits into has a meter that measures the hold each faction has over the city. Each city starts with 100% Templar control. Its mission gets a small amount of control for the assassins, so it would be fair to assume that once you do every mission, then you have 100% control over the city and you save the day. Right? Wrong. You cannot gain more than 50% control in any given city, and if you don't regularly do missions in that city, the meter drops as the Templars gain influence in your absence. Simply horrid game design. Now how do we fix it? There are a lot of factions fighting for control in the world. The elusive Institute of Shadows, an organization working to abolish the monarchy and take control of the world. The mysterious Owl's Wing, a group of mages loyal to the crown, tasked with protecting civilization from every possible threat. There is even the chaotic Cabal, filled with witches and warlocks, all trying to resurrect some sort of old, dark god. The missions you take will either be from citizens or factions. You can choose to accept or reject these faction missions, but if you choose to help them, they will grow more powerful and influential. If you frequently help the Institute of Shadows, they will eventually take the crown and seize control of the world. If you help the Sancti Milites, the Church's private army of clerics and paladins, they will establish a theocratic system and eliminate all other religions and creeds. If you help the Cabal, they will free their god and he will destroy the world. Different endgame scenarios that come from player's choice, each with their own rewards and consequences. Problem number 3. The travel part is wasted. The missions should consist of a couple of steps. Step 1. Travel to get to the place. Step number 2. Execute the plan. Step number 3. Travel to return. In the Assassin's Creed games, nothing happens when you travel, which is odd considering that in the rest of the game there is always side content available when you travel from one mission to the next. Courtesan mission there, collectible over there, pickpocket the other way. In open world games, traversal could become stale after the while, so there are always little distractions in the way to spice up the gameplay. Every mission should be its own adventure. If you don't teleport to your destination, the group that is executing the mission will pass through enchanted forests, bandit camps, cursed villages and military outposts, each with quests to give, each with secrets to explore. Problem number 4. There are no consequences to always sending your recruits on missions, and recruits have no job other than going on missions. Whenever a recruit finishes their mission, I would rush to the pigeon queue to assign them a new mission, because they would essentially be idle when not in one. I rarely use them in the actual game, because every memory can be easily completed without them. Visiting the main assassin hideout, you would see them just standing there, talking or reading a book. In Revelations, you saw one of them sitting in a bunch of pillows smoking the nargileh, and I was like, my dude, we have a world to save, get up. My solution is that if you send every recruit on a mission, your main base becomes vulnerable to attacks from bandits, rival factions, and other guilds. If you want to be a good boy and help the royalist Owl's Wings, the rival faction, the Institute of Shadows, might raid you because you are aiding their enemy. If you attack a Cabal encampment by the orders of the Sancti Milites, they might retaliate. Other guilds may send their adventurers to eliminate you. More work for them if the competition disappears. Also, recruits might have their own stuff to deal with. Religious classes, paladins, clerics, and warlocks might have to leave for a few days to do an errand for their god. Marshals might want to attend a tournament, and spellcasters could want to visit an unearthed ancient library to see that magical tomes that it holds. The point is that recruits have their own goals other than doing missions for you for some coin. This also encourages varied gameplay. Did you get an infiltration mission but your rogue is back in his hometown trying to fend off an orc attack? I guess you have to use your monk, or your sorcerer, or whatever. So, what would this game of mine look like? Warning, there will be statistics from this point on. Continue at your own risk. Let's create an example. You get a mission, infiltrate this castle, pick the lock of the treasury, steal an artifact, and dip. The mission will require a set of checks for your character. First, there is an acrobatics check to climb a wall, then a stealth check to pass the guards, then a lock-picking check, and finally a final stealth check to leave undetected. Let's assume our level 3 rogue has a 16 dexterity, which means a dexterity modifier of +3. They are also proficient in acrobatics, so they add +2 to acrobatics check, but they are an expert in acrobatics, so the proficiency modifier is doubled. So in a dexterity acrobatics check, they add +7 to the d20, so they can roll a random number from 8 to 27 in an acrobatics check. If the difficulty class of the climb is 10, then 18 out of the possible 20 outcomes are a success. Now let's calculate the stealth checks. In that check, you can roll from a 4 to a 23, so in a DC 10 check, 14 out of 20 rolls are successes. Our rogue has also proficiency and expertise in Thieves' Tools, so he adds double his proficiency bonus to the lockpicking check. 18 out of 20 rolls pass the check. So succeeding in the mission would mean passing every single check. The winning probability of this mission, if you use this rogue, is 39%. Now, what happens if you give the rogue a Cloak of Elvenkind, an item that gives you advantage on stealth checks? Advantage means you have 2 tries to pass the check. The probability of passing at least one of 2 rolls with equal chance of occurring is 1 minus the chance of failure to the number of tries. So the new stealth success chance becomes 91%. So the new chance of overall success becomes 67%. That's good. Let's try to approach it a different way. What if we added a level 3 mage that knows invisibility to the party? It would eliminate the need to hide, because they would automatically succeed in the stealth checks. The trade-off, of course, is that the acrobatics check is now harder because both of them have to succeed. The mage has a 10 dexterity, so they add nothing to the d20 for the acrobatics check. They can roll 1 to 20 and the DC is 10, so 1 to 9 fails. But the rogue can use the help action to give the mage advantage, so the chance of the mage succeeding in the acrobatics check is 79%. So the chance of both of them succeeding the acrobatics check is 71%. Lower than if the rogue went alone, which was 90, but without the stealth checks, the final chance of success becomes 63%. So you get an advantage of not having to roll a stealth check, but the acrobatics becomes way harder, from a 90 to a 71%. If the mage knows levitate, misty step, a short-range teleport, or spider climb, they automatically succeed in the acrobatics check, so the chance of success becomes 81%. You get it. It's a risk and resource management game where you try to get the optimal way to succeed in a mission using the tools you have available to raise your chances of success as much as possible. I think the main game will be a Darkest Dungeon Slay the Spire hybrid, where you assemble a team and go on missions, finding shrines and events along the way that give rewards or permanently buff your adventurers, and while you're busy being on mission, you can assign the remaining recruits that you will not use to side missions. It's weird that a system like this was not implemented in Darkest Dungeon, a game that encourages you to have backup adventurers because everyone can die at any moment. I remember when my entire level 6 party wiped and all I had left were level 1 adventurers, simply because I was using my A-team all the time and the remaining 10 adventurers I had just sat at base doing nothing.
So I created a little mock-up on how the game would be like. You have your character, Rogue. Let's say he has a magic lockpick in his... let's say he has winged boots in his inventory, and he's an expert in stealth. He is proficient in acrobatics, stealth, and thieves' tools. He's an expertise in stealth, and let's see. So the thieves' tool success is 80%, the acrobatic success chance is 96%, stealth success chance is 90%, and the overall success chance is 62%. The math is right here, depending on if it's on proficiencies and in expertise. Then you calculate the failures, and then if you have advantage, you do this. If you don't have advantage, you do this, etc. If we put that our character is a mage, and this he knows invisibility in his spell list. Then the what? It should. Okay, I made a mistake. Why isn't it? So I put that my character is a mage. Wait, didn't I change that? I just changed it, didn't I? Oh, there you go. If the character is a mage, then the Thieves' Tool success chance is 70%, the acrobatic success chance is 91%, and the stealth success chance is 1, because if you have invisibility, you automatically succeed in the stealth. If he also has knock in his spell list, then he also automatically succeeds on the Thieves' Tools check. So that's what it would be. It would look like, and I don't know how to end the video, so let me know in the comments what you want, and I'll probably see you in the next one if I make it. I'm enrolling in a course for video game design, so maybe I'll make it, maybe I won't. I still don't know. So let me know.